She looked a bit worried, lowering her voice. "Repaying debts must be tough, right?" And then she gave me a smile. Her smile seemed almost pitying to me. "My name is Jack Anderson. I'm turning 45 this year." "All right, you look good today." I spoke to Sunny, the parakeet, who seemed to be lacking energy yesterday. Its feathers were glossy. "Think you can come out in front of the visitors today?" As I spoke further, Sunny chirped in response. Taking it as a yes, I smiled and took it out of the cage, leading it to the free-range area. The glass-walled free-range area is designed to prevent birds from crashing into the glass by using colorful stickers and hanging plants and mobiles from the ceiling, offering a panoramic view of the park. My wife, Sophia, walked into the cafe where anybody can play with rabbits, and my middle school daughter, Olivia, was battling with pony droppings. I could hear the complaints about the smell, which made me chuckle a bit. My elementary school son, Mike, was not helping at all, just running around the park. This is Anderson Family Petting Zoo, a small petting zoo I run. The park features playgrounds for children, petting areas with goats and ponies, a cat cafe, a rabbit cafe, and our famous gelato ice cream shop. And this bird cafe is a recent addition, my favorite spot. Looking around the park, my face breaks into a smile. Hard to believe it was on the brink of bankruptcy about 20 years ago. As I reminisced, Sophia looked over and waved at me. Though she had a few more laugh lines, she looked the same as she did 20 years ago, triggering my memories. Back then, I was a high school senior, dating Sophia. It was a place where a 45-minute drive would get you to the city center, but back then, with only a bicycle as my means of transportation, it felt like the middle of nowhere to me. There was a high school within a barely manageable biking distance, and most of the local kids went there. Sophia and I were childhood friends from elementary school, so growing up together almost like siblings, the idea of dating felt strangely out of place. One day during my senior year of high school, my father fell sick, and the financial state of the park, which had been his responsibility, came to light. The park didn't seem to attract many visitors, and it was in much more debt than I had thought. It seems that debts were covering expenses like employee salaries and animal feed. Learning about this situation, my mother suggested closing the park, which was a shock to me. I begged her to wait and felt out of sorts from that day on. Even if I were to take over, I was still a high school student. I knew nothing about managing a business, and I at least wanted to graduate from high school. During this troubled time, Sophia was there for me. She was concerned about my lack of energy and was always by my side. Sophia and I used to play in the park a lot when we were in elementary school. The employees treated us like their own children and were very fond of us. When I shared the situation of the park and my father's condition with Sophia, she took it very seriously and offered her advice. Sophia, who had been pretty since elementary school with her well-proportioned face, had grown into a mature and beautiful woman with clear eyes by the time she reached high school. Sophia was beautiful and always there for me gently, and before I knew it, I was in love with her. I confessed my love to her in front of the rusty bell in the center of the park. Sophia chuckled and said, "Let's clean up this bell together. I don't want this bell to be the bell of my memories of Jack's confession of love to me." I remember I was confused as to what was going on because he said that before answering my confession. Then, turning to face me, she said earnestly, "I never imagined things would turn out this way with Jack. But watching you ponder over the park recently, I started to think you were so cool. I was very embarrassed and shy to be told in such a serious manner. Then Sophia said, I love this park too and don't want to lose it. I thought that Jack's actions to take care of this park is kind of wonderful. And she playfully stuck out her tongue. Her gesture was so adorable that I couldn't resist and gave her my first kiss, even though we had just become lovers. From then on, Sophia and I started dating. Being friends from elementary school, our relationship hasn't seen any dramatic changes. After confessing my love to her, I declared to my parents that I wanted to take over the park. My mother decided to hold the fort as the representative until I graduated from high school. Naturally, the main topic between Sophia and me became the park's reconstruction, and far from sweet romance, we often clashed. I loved the interactive aspects of this park. That's why I wanted to continue targeting children and keep it going as it was. I was conservative. But Sophia thought differently. She argued that the number of children was decreasing, leading to fewer customers. Therefore, she insisted that we should target young people, the elderly, in the local community. Our initially hesitant arguments heated up over time, eventually leading to incessant fights. Then one day, Sophia, who had been saying we'd work together on the park's reconstruction seriously after graduating high school, decided to change her path and go to college. I lashed out at Sophia. I called it a betrayal. She was abandoning a nearly bankrupt park to go to the city. Sophia denied it. She said she just wanted to broaden her perspective. She was desperate to learn about management and help the park. But I, who had thought we'd rebuild the park together after graduating, couldn't shake off the feeling of being betrayed. I became indifferent when it came to discussions about rebuilding the park, and I didn't want to hear Sophia's opinions, so I neglected our communication. On the other hand, Sophia, who had made a sudden change in her plans, started studying hard. As a result, the opportunities for Sophia and me to meet naturally decreased. I think our relationship naturally faded away. Without talking much to me, Sophia went off to the university she got into in New York. The sense of loss I felt from Sophia's absence was immeasurable. Even without much conversation or seeing each other, just knowing Sophia was in the same town made me feel less lonely. But then, Sophia left the town. Feeling lonelier than I expected, I tried to contact Sophia several times. But then I realized I couldn't go on like this. I rejected Sophia's opinions without having a solid stance of my own, and I labeled her forward-looking decision to attend university as a betrayal. And now, for me to want to reach out to Sophia after all this time, even harboring a faint hope for reconciliation. Only after losing Sophia did I realize that such an idea was utterly unacceptable. I started to take action to rebuild the park. From that resolution, 4 years went by. It was about 20 years ago from now. I received an invitation to the high school reunion. Almost everyone in town had left for jobs or further education. The reunion was planned as a milestone for those who had gone to college to celebrate their graduation, and the venue was a stylish restaurant in the city center, an hour's drive away. Usually surrounded by animals and older employees, I rarely ventured into the city, and it's very rare for me to enter such a stylish restaurant. I remember being a bit nervous and hesitant to enter. At the same time, I was excited at the possibility of meeting Sophia. My purpose for attending the reunion was because I wanted to see Sophia. We hadn't been in touch for all 4 years. I was nervous, wondering what kind of woman she had become. I mustered up the courage and opened the door to the restaurant. My eyes immediately caught sight of Sophia. Sophia, dressed in a light pink dress, was an incredibly beautiful woman, to put it modestly. She was beautiful in high school, but going to the city must have polished her even more. For me, who had been doing nothing but work in the countryside, she was dazzlingly bright. I chatted with classmates I hadn't seen in a while. While it was enjoyable, I felt a bit tired and settled into a corner seat. Next to me, a flash of pink caught my eyes. It was Sophia, in her pink dress. She cheerfully started a conversation with me. "Long time no see, how have you been?" Then I vaguely responded, like, yes, well. I imagine I must have looked very insecure and unreliable. Sophia looked a bit worried and lowered her voice. "Must be tough dealing with the debt repayment, isn't it?" Then, she gave me a smile. Her smile seemed almost pitying to me. My spirits began to sink, but somehow I managed to hold on midway. Surely, if it were me back in high school, I would have felt so dejected that I might have just stormed out of there. But I was different now. I responded with a beaming smile to Sophia, who gave me a slightly troubled grin. "Well, I don't know." When I said that, Sophia looked a bit puzzled. Then, I extended my right hand towards her, as if asking her for a handshake. "Stop by the park next time you're back home." Sophia stubbornly did not stop by the park when she returned home. Several years after an awkward breakup, Sophia, who is stubborn according to her mother, has decided not to show up at the park while she is studying at the university. Her mother tells Sophia that the current situation at the park is improving, but she says, "I am going to enjoy it after graduation." Then I was going to surprise Sophia by rebuilding the park before she graduated from college. I'm so sorry for what I did when in high school. I was being childish. I think I've grown up more than I was 4 years ago. So I hope you'll come to the park someday. I said everything that I wanted to say and left the venue. Sophia was left there, stunned. When would Sophia come? I imagined the look on her face when she would visit the park. With a positive mindset, I headed home. To my surprise, Sophia visited the park the day after the reunion. My attitude had left her restless, unable to stay put. Sophia, who found me cleaning around the park, stared at me with her large eyes, even larger than usual. And the first thing she muttered was, "The parking lot, it was full." Her voice trembled, unable to tell if she was happy or shocked, which made me laugh unintentionally. "Yes, there's an event today." Hearing that, Sophia looked around the park curiously. There were so many cars, but nobody is around. To Sophia's plain simple question, I replied, "Everyone's getting changed over there right now." I pointed towards a building to the right of the reception. It's usually a play area for kids on rainy days, with toys and picture books. Getting changed. Sophia tilted her head in confusion, and just then, people in various outfits started pouring out of the building, scattering throughout the park. And as if on cue, photographers began snapping photos of them. A girl with silver curls struck a pose next to the pony pen. The sound of cheers echoed in response. Over there, in front of the bell I named the Bell of True Love, a couple was posing, and the sound of shitters echoed there as well. Seeing Sophia looking bewildered, I explained, "Today, we're hosting a cosplay event." Hearing this, Sophia muttered, "Cosplay?" It seemed like her thoughts were still catching up. After Sophia left the town for college, the first thing I decided to do was to tidy up the neglected areas. The park is about a 45-minute drive from the city center. It was supposed to be a park where people could take a short drive with their kids on a day off. But lately, the park had been neglected, and upon closer inspection, I found that the sign guiding people to the entrance had fallen over. This is no way for people to come around. No wonder only regulars come here these days. I wanted this park to be a place where everybody can casually come with anybody if feeling like going out for a bit. We started with a small place and worked our way up. Mowed grass near the entrance and installed new signage. Although it was a simple sign, I've always been good at art, and the finished sign was lavishly praised by the local ladies. I thought it turned out quite lovely myself. Next, I turned my attention to the rusty bell where I had confessed my love to Sophia. I wondered if I could turn it into an attraction of some sort. It was a bit embarrassing, but this was where I gave her my first kiss. I wanted to make it a romantic spot if possible. After refurbishing and beautifying the bell, one of the employees suggested, "This is great. Why not call it the Bell of Love or something?" So, I named it the Bell of True Love and came up with a tagline, "Couples who kiss here will be bound together forever." This then got featured in a statewide information magazine. And that's when the turning point came with a phone call. Would it be possible to take wedding photos at your park? We'd also like to feature them in our brochure. I was as stunned as if I had been hit on the head by this inquiry from a wedding venue. Was this what Sophia meant when she said she wanted to attract young people? I agreed to host the wedding photo shoot, only ensuring it wouldn't stress the animals. Then the venue and I worked together to increase the number of photo spots. The brochure exposure had a tremendous effect, and I actively pursued various photo events afterward. We even started hosting school entrance ceremony photo shoots. Come to think of it, I had my photo taken at the park for milestones during my childhood. It was always a place where people wanted to take commemorative photos. Gradually, as the number of visitors increased, we could see the end of the debt my father had accrued, and there was more financial leeway for employee salaries and the care of the animals. I briefly shared how things got this way with Sophia. Sophia listened intently to my explanation throughout. And when I finished, tears welled up in her eyes rapidly. As I was taken aback, Sophia hugged me softly. When I was stumped by her sudden hug, Sophia said, "You did a great job on your own." I felt like crying too. It was not alone. The longtime employee helped me by researching current trends, and my parents supported me by accepting my reform proposal willingly. Plus, the mowing and the road maintenance couldn't be done without help of many people in town. Indeed, the park's reconstruction was a result of the entire community's collective effort. People in town helped me, partly because they saw me changing signs and mowing grass by myself and were impressed, but mostly because of my father's influence. My father has always truly loved this town and was passionate about the beautification of the town as well as the park. He was a volunteer firefighter and actively helped out during festival days. As a child, I couldn't understand why he put so much effort into things that didn't bring in money. But no good deed goes unrewarded. What my father was doing came full circle and came back to the park and then to me. I've come to want to give back to the town, just like my dad did it, and that's what I built. Feeling a bit embarrassed, I wriggle out of Sophia's embrace and point to a building. It's a glass-enclosed structure, much like a sunroom. This area is mild and snow-free in winter. Yet, the town's elderly, active in summer, tend to stay indoors during the winter months. I wanted it to be a place where people have a rest and enjoy chatting in the building when taking a stroll in cold winter. It was a greenhouse-like building that I built with this in mind. Eventually, we could plant lots of plants and maybe even have small animals spend some time there. As I shared this dream with Sophia, her eyes sparkled brightly. While studying business at university, I too started to dream of giving back to our community someday. That led me to take on 2 part-time jobs. And guess what one of them was? Sophia said with a playful grin. With no hints, I was at a loss. As I pondered, Sophia, still smiling, revealed, a cat cafe. I was working at a cat cafe, the cafe where anybody could play with cats. How about letting the cat loose in that greenhouse? Sophia suggested further, and what if we had more, like rabbit cafes or other animal-themed cafes? Wouldn't it be amazing for everyone to relax in spaces dedicated to their favorite animals? Feeling overwhelmed by the scale of her vision, I hesitated. We certainly don't have the budget for all that, causing Sophia to pout in displeasure. Quickly shifting back to her playful demeanor, she teased, and the other part-time job I had was at. As I waited for her to continue, she said with a burst of smiles, Gelateria, ice cream shop. It was popular with lines out the door. I desperately asked the manager to teach me the recipes because I thought this is the one to bring back to town. How impressive, and you're always so proactive. But surely, the manager didn't because the recipes must be a trade secret, right? As I pointed this out, Sophia flashed a V sign, beaming with satisfaction. Guess what? I got permission to open a second branch right here in my hometown. I'm truly impressed by Sophia. She's always been proactive and full of innovative ideas. But then, I questioned, that's incredible, but how does that help fund animal cafes in the park? Sophia's smile quickly turned to an exasperated frown. What? You're so slow. Let's open the second branch here in the park. I rolled my eyes even more at the idea. We'll have a fireplace to make it enjoyable even in winter, as same as in summer. A fireplace right in the middle of the eat-in area. Isn't that wonderful? It seems Sophia's idea of opening gelato shop is already well developed. Oh wait, you mean? As I pondered, Sophia gazed at me with a hopeful look. Sophia, are you coming back here? Sophia furrowed her brows again as I spoke. I told you I'd come back. I just went to study for 4 years for the sake of our town, she said. Seeing Sophia sulk, I pressed on. You're coming back to the park too, right? She nodded quietly. I mustered up some courage. Would you come back to me as well? Though I tried to be brave, my words came out ambiguously. Sophia seemed to sense the same ambiguity. What do you mean by that? Sophia's moist eyes pierced from me. Come on, you tell me. Leaning a little closer to me, Sophia spoke in a sultry tone. What do you want with me? I gulped. Faced with Sophia's rapid questions, I made up my mind. Please, would you be my girlfriend again and support this park with me? As I said this, I extended my right hand. I remember this scene from an old TV show. A man goes up to the woman and confesses his feelings to her, extending his right hand. If her answer is yes, she takes his hand. If no, she just doesn't and says I'm sorry, that kind of thing. It probably lasted less than a second, I think. But for me, that time felt incredibly long, as if my heart was about to leap out of my mouth. And then, my right hand was wrapped in a soft one. Of course, it was Sophia's hand. Yes, I'm so happy. I want to give back to this park and this town, with you for sure. When I looked up, Sophia was crying. Tears were falling from my eyes, too. Sophia's hand that I let go of when in high school because of my sneaky thoughts. This time, I won't let it go. As I was immersed in these emotions, I sensed Sophia's confusion. Looking around, Sophia and I were surrounded by photographers. Surprised, my tears retracted. As someone working behind the scenes at a cosplay event, I had been caught up talking with Sophia and neglected the event. Feeling guilty and anxious, a woman in a valiant heroine's costume with blonde hair took Sophia's hand. Where we were taken to, without our thoughts catching up, was in front of the bell of true love. Kiss here for the first time and you'll be bound together forever. I heard the slogan I had come up with from somewhere, and I gave her a kiss for the second time. I pleaded with the photographers not to post it on social media. Oops, I got lost in the memory there. Before I knew it, almost 30 minutes had passed. The elderly are early risers. I need to get ready quickly, or the customers will start arriving. I hurriedly headed towards the gelato shop. One muscat, please. As I told the woman, she turned around and said, that'll be $4.50 with the employee discount, presenting her palm. It was my wife, Sophia. While I was lost in my memories for 30 minutes, Sophia had finished up at the Rabbit Cafe and started getting the gelato shop ready for opening. I got the gelato and take a bite. The cold sensation and the rich sweetness of the muscat burst in my mouth. This is really good. Only 2 more weeks. Too bad it's only for a limited time. I'm sure we'll have a lot of customers today. When I say this to Sophia, she frowns. I can't wait for this period to be over. Sophia's gaze shifts towards my belly. I make an awkward face and pinch the flesh on my stomach. Sophia, although exasperated by my gesture, smiles. In 2 weeks, we'll have the sweet potato parfait, so no time for me to lose weight, I say with a grin, and Sophia glares at me. The popular winter-only menu item is a sweet potato parfait, hot sweet potatoes and cold gelato on top. I was worried gelato wouldn't be popular in winter, but we have customers who even come just for this dessert. Thanks to Sophia's seasonal gelato creations, our sales have been very strong all year round. As I'm smiling at the rich sweetness of the gelato, the shop door opens forcefully. It's not fair, Dad. I want some gelato too. That's our daughter, Olivia, causing a fuss. $4.50. Sophia, with her palm outstretched mercilessly, and Olivia, tugging at my sleeve. Olivia had been a big help since the morning. As a reward, I placed some coins in Sophia's hand. I'm tired. I'm definitely not taking over the park after this. Olivia, eating her gelato, sits on a bench. Aren't you guys tired too? You were patrolling the town last night, right? I can't believe it. All that work and no pay. Hearing this, Sophia and I look at each other and smile. Olivia looks bewildered. You'll see someday. As I say this, Olivia's expression becomes even more puzzled. Patting Olivia on the head, I say, all right, it's time to open, and step out of the gelato shop. The slightly chilly air pierces through my body. Today, Anderson Family Petting Zoo will surely be filled with many smiling faces again. The animal cafe that Sophia envisioned started with a cat cafe and gradually expanded to include a rabbit cafe and recently, the bird cafe I always wanted to open. I love parakeets. These cafes don't charge an entrance fee. We want the townspeople to use it as a casual place to chat, only paying for their drinks. But thanks to the regulars who visit every day to care for the animals lovingly, the business is doing well. Of course, we have no shortage of visitors from outside the town coming specifically to see their favorite animals. The many rules we set for the animals' sake are strictly followed by all visitors, and when the animals are tired, they can rest in the back. In the central plaza, children play, and depending on the pony's mood, people flock to the pony riding experience. The animals' houses are set to a comfortable temperature all year round, and it's a place where you can have fun even on rainy days. I think this park has become a place where everybody can casually come with anybody if feeling like going out for a bit. The space I dreamed of has expanded. Now not only locals, but also school children from neighboring towns use it annually for field trips and excursions. I enjoy guiding them, thinking that maybe one of these kids will become a future employee. It's a space where families, employees, townspeople, and people of all ages enjoy themselves with smiles. Standing in front of the bell of true love, I murmur, I wonder if I am able to manage to give something back. Then, Sophia's voice comes from nearby. Yes, you are. It seems she was next to me while I was getting sentimental. Am I taking good care of you as well, Sophia? To this, Sophia turns to me with a beaming smile. I almost instinctively go in for a kiss, then remember it's early morning. Sophia, who didn't miss my behavior, quietly chides me. You did last night, didn't you? Making me blush. It was after our patrol last night. Even though we've been married for 15 years and it's been over 40 years since we met, I still find my wife incredibly dear. Looking up, I see the townspeople in the distance. The first visitors today will be Ryan and Karen. It's going to be lively, I murmur to myself. My lips relax into a smile. Today is bound to be another fun day.